Yes. If it's a yes, take off your top. You know, you don't know what you just agreed to. Last year, why are people coming through the window? Why is a man named Moo with rabbit ears coming through a window? Oh, because it's Dragon Con. Mommy, a man named Moo with rabbit ears came through my window. Where do you live? Atlanta. What day was it? Labor Day weekend? Pay no mind. Okay. The lovely young lady named Jayme Jennings. We were friends for many years. And when I first laid eyes on her, I sort of fell in love with her because she's very beautiful. I think it's fairly obvious. And but she had a boyfriend who was a giant muscular person. And I had a girlfriend too, so that's so much for that. So in any case, the long and the short of it is, we ended up just being friends. And at some point, I became single, and she became single, and my first inclination, of course, was like, I'm gonna hit that. And one night while slickly, I thought, explaining, excuse me, that I hate the process of dating, and that I was spending like $400 a night on a date, you know, taking these women to these fantastic restaurants, only to discover 15 minutes into the date that I hated them. She looked at me, she said, why do you should take them for a coffee first, and then if you like them, then go on a nice date. And I thought, oh, I never really thought of that. But I like these places, and I want to go for a nice dinner. And she said, well, I like those places too, so why don't we go as friends? And we'll get all dressed up, and we'll split the check at the end of the night, and both go our separate ways without weirdness. And I thought, this is brilliant. But it sucks that she's telling me this because it means she doesn't like me romantically. But okay, fair enough. Let's do this. So for 4 months, every week, we got all dressed up and went to some fantastic 5-star restaurant in New York City and had this wonderful, friendly anti-date. And then, as it happens, after 4 months, I realized I was in love with her, and she realized that she could tolerate my weirdness, and we started to date. So now, 6 months after that, 6 months into dating, I realized, I think to myself, she is the most sane, most reasonable, most logical, no offense, woman that I've ever met in my life. She's perfect. And then she came with me to Dragon Con. And we were talking by the booth, and people were coming up every 2 seconds to get something, or to need something, or to want something signed, or a photograph. And I said, come on, I'm going to the room. And I turned around, she wasn't behind me, and I turned around and looked at her, and I was like, why aren't you coming? And she looked like a deer in the headlights. She was like, and she later told me, you didn't realize it, but you had like the network behind you. There's like T-Mobile commercials or Verizon or whatever. You had like 100 people staring at her like, yeah, what's wrong with you? So we went to lunch that day at the food court. I spared no expense. You know, large fries for the lady. We were sitting in the food court, and she said, you know, I kind of apologize. I sort of spazzed out on you a little bit today. And I thought, oh, I'm glad she's telling me this. We'll get to the root of it. She said, the thing is that I hadn't had anything to eat today. And if I don't eat sort of semi-regularly, I get a little twitchy. And I thought to myself, relationship was only 6 months old. I thought, a woman who's absolutely perfect, as long as she eats periodically, I can live with that. A few months went by, and we were at some other show, and something went down, and she got a little spazzy and sort of barked at me about something, and I walked up to her, put my arm on her shoulder, and said, honey, have you had something to eat today? Do you want to go get something to eat? And she said, yeah, I've eaten. I was like, is something wrong? And she said, well, you know, I didn't sleep last night. And I've noticed that if I don't sleep, I can be a little funny the next day. I thought, all right, okay. So she's got to sleep and she's got to eat, and then she's perfect. So I man can deal with this. And so a couple months went by, and we were somewhere or other, and she got a little grumpy about something, and I said, honey, did you sleep last night? She said, yeah, I slept like a log. Are you hungry? Did you eat something? I said, no, I'm fine. I ate fine. I said, you seem a little grouchy. She said, well, the thing is, I work out every day. I run for an hour, and it gets a lot of the stress out, and I didn't get to run today. So, I really kind of need to work out for an hour to get that all out. And I thought, okay, as long as she sleeps, eats, and works out for an hour, she's the perfect woman. So I can still deal with this. Because this beats the last one where there was just no knowing what was wrong. So I can deal with this. Then like a month went by. And we were at a supermarket or something, and I said, honey, can you pass me the bananas? She was like, just take the banana. Whoa, what's going on? I said, did you sleep last night? I slept all night long. Did you eat? I ate like a pig all day long. Did you work out? I ran around the block for 2 hours. I said, is something wrong? She said, well, look, I gotta be honest with you. We haven't had sex in like 3 days. If I don't have sex at least once a day, I can be a little funny. So, as it happens, as long as she's eaten,